morning, folks. Today's Friday, March 7th, 2025, and this is your Friday safety meeting. My name is Dennis Davis. I work in the safety department here at Prime. We are located in the Z building, ground level, center of the room, next to the pillars. So if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to stop by and we'll kind of play traffic cop for you and get you directed in the right direction of where you need to be taken care of. So we do this most Friday mornings. Well, we're glad to come to you on this close to spring morning. It's, we had a little bout of weather early in the week, but now we are looking to be close to 70 degrees today here in Springfield, Missouri. So we're inching closer and closer to spring. I think this weekend is where we adjust the clock. So kind of keep that in mind. We're springing forward, not falling back. So, for if you've got some early morning appointments on March 9th, make sure you're communicating with your fleet manager, double checking, with the customer if you need to on exactly what that appointment time is going to be. So we appreciate you being with us this morning. As always, we are live here in Springfield, Missouri, and we are simulcasting to our other locations in both Pittston, Pennsylvania, and Salt Lake City, Utah. And we are live across a few social media networks. So welcome to our friends that are watching and listening on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So we appreciate you being with us. These meetings are archived on those social media networks. So if you want to go back and view previous meetings or a specific speaker that you're looking for, it's pretty easy to go back and find that information. At each of our locations this morning, breakfast is free. So if you haven't placed your order yet, I know there's a few folks in line over here in Springfield. Jump in line, place your order. Breakfast is on Mr. Robert Lowe this morning. So we're going to jump into our speaker list. And as always, the most important thing when it comes to safety is the health and well-being of the physical, living, breathing human being inside of the vehicle. So I'm going to ask Cody from Driver Health and Fitness and Rachel to come on up. Good morning.
How are you? So good morning, everybody. So Colby, Driver Health and Fitness. So Rachel, our registered dietitian. So this month, if Heather wants to come up too, so this month is National Sleep Awareness Month. So we have the benefit of always having somebody like Heather and Cardinal Sleep always being involved and being here for you guys. Real quick, though, we want to have the health tip we're going to talk about is I want to tease something, and we're actually going to give something away from each terminal. So today, actually, we're going to give away, let me grab this. So anybody have one of these pillows? We do have a show of hands. Yes. What do you think of the pillow? Can you talk about it real quick?
Yeah, I just bought mine yesterday because we've had purple pillows and other pillows, and they all go flat and they're hot. These are very much more comfortable. I'm a side sleeper, and they keep really good around your neck so that you're not, don't wake up with a crank neck. You don't sweat a lot with them, and they're very comfortable.
There you go. It's an impromptu. I like that. So, okay, awesome. So we're going to give this away first in Springfield. We've teased it before, Rachel. We teased what?
So there's kind of a method for getting better sleep or more efficient sleep, maybe not longer sleep, but more efficient sleep while you have time to sleep. And it's called the 3-2-1 method. So yeah, that is, if anyone can remember any of those numbers, what the 3 or the 2 or the 1 stands for, then we're giving away a pillow.
Anybody remember we talked about before? Yeah, we got a hand up back there.
Don't do them all, Bruce.
Just give me one.
No food 3 hours before going to bed.
Woo, let's go. Give me a round of applause. I'll give you this one.
And doing no food 3 hours before bed takes planning, right? I mean, you have to kind of plan that within your schedule. But I will say that if you're able to plan that and you're able to work around that, it does make a big difference.
Okay, so we've got other ones. We actually have pillows in Salt Lake City and in Pittston. So Salt Lake City or Pittston, either one. Can you guys remember he said the 3, so the 2 or the 1. Anybody there remember anything? Somebody's got a mic out there for him? See if we got somebody there.
We got a mic.
Yeah? Anybody out? Is that Richard?
That is.
Yeah. So can you tell anybody out there, can they remember either what the 2 or the 1 stands for?
Is it no screen time 2 hours before bed?
Oh, Rachel, did you hear that? Screen time. Is that in Pittston?
It is in Pittston.
There you go. Awesome. Okay. Yes, exactly right. Okay. Good. So screen time, right? 2 hours. That was the 1 hour? Perfect. Okay, so the 1 hour, what's the, so then we're good. So in Salt Lake City, so we have Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is, what does our 2 stand for? Give the mic. We're not talking to them right now? Okay, we'll come back to them. We do have one here though. It's an answer.
No water 2 hours before.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Because you're trying to reduce having to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, right? So, and then light, like 1 hour before bed, a super helpful thing to do. Brianna, if you could pull that up, that'd be great. Thank you. The light, what that does is light excites your brain. It turns your brain on, especially blue light. And that's what comes from screens. So phone screens is a great example. If you can just turn your phone to night mode, before, like a couple hours before bed, especially that 1 hour before bed, it really, really helps to bring your brain down and kind of not have your brain being active.
Awesome. Okay. So again, our health tip is very related to sleep. So that's why we have you up here, right?
Yeah.
So let's share with us some things right now. We obviously Cardinal Sleep while we're here this month, what it really means. I always tell you, I love your passion for helping our drivers. So floor is
Okay.
yours. So
Good morning. I'm Heather with Cardinal Sleep. And so this is a sleep awareness month, and we're going to talk about it every Friday. As far as what we do, we obviously do the testing and have the equipment if you needed the equipment to treat sleep apnea. So we're in all 3 locations. Amber manages the lab in Salt Lake City and Paige in Pittston. They're super helpful. So we've got some eye masks for everybody. So in all 3 locations. So if you want an eye mask, it just blacks out the light for you. Great for if you are a nighttime driver and you're sleeping during the day. So we've got those for everybody. Just come and grab one. Like I said, they're in all 3 locations. We also have some information on obstructive sleep apnea, and we also have some information on how to sleep better just in general for everyone. I just wanted to say on the 3 things that, Colby and Rachel talked about, I just wanted to give you kind of 3 tips for if you maybe are at risk for obstructive sleep apnea. These are 3 things that you might want to look for, regardless of your risk factors as far as BMI or neck circumference or airway exam or high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes. But 3 things that you can just look for in yourself are, do you have headaches in the morning? Morning headaches are a big thing. So if you have those, you want to figure out what's the cause of that. A lot of people just kind of blow it off and think, oh, I just need my coffee. But there's a reason that you're having a headache in the morning. So you definitely want to check that out. If you snore, snoring can be completely harmless. We have definitely had, people that they snore and they have no issue whatsoever. But if you do snore, you definitely want to get it checked out because it can be something that's related to obstructive sleep apnea that, you might want to check that out and make sure that if you need to be treated, you are. And then the last thing was just daytime sleepiness and fatigue. And I tell everybody in this day and age, especially with, all of the busy things that we do, it's really hard to gauge fatigue. So sometimes fatigue can spill over into your emotions. So you may say, hey, I don't have daytime sleepiness. I'm completely fine. But if you are somebody that's, you're having bouts during the day where you're getting emotional and maybe you're tearing up, or even if you're getting really cranky and maybe you're yelling at the guy that's, cut you off. Those things can be related to obstructive sleep apnea. So just a heads up. I always kind of give that information to people because it definitely does affect your hormone levels and your emotions if you are suffering from obstructive sleep apnea or if you're suffering from sleep deprivation. So we've got lots of information for you. Don't run off. Come and get it from us. We want to make sure that we educate you and help you out. And we are always here to help. Again, Paige is in Pittston, Amber's in Salt Lake City today. They've also got information and eye mask for you. So come and get them. They're totally free and they will help you sleep.
I love it. And I appreciate that. And I think we are going to do, like I said, every Friday, we're going to be on here talking about it for this month because sleep is such an important part, right? It's very difficult. Sometimes we understand there are drivers who have difficulties with it, but it is such a key part to our health and well-being and success. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But guys, if you have any questions, we're always here to help you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Colby. Thanks. I think I saw Rachel, and thanks, Heather, for coming on up.
Now, do you not eat 3 hours before you go to bed? Don't drink 2 hours before? Turn off all the lights 1 hour before? Do you practice that, Dennis?
No, I am terrible about that. I'm okay with the eating. I'm okay with not eating 3 hours, but I'm a reader, and my iPad has that light that they were talking about. So maybe I need to.
I'm in the same boat, brother. You know, one thing I like to do is kind of watch the news before I go to bed. Sometimes I even have it on. Probably shouldn't do that, obviously, but just to see what's going on in the world and see what's happening. But yeah, I struggle with all three of those at times. So,
And my throat gets dry because so I constantly drink water. So
there you go.
then, Dave, and then a lot of men out here, as you get older, you can't, you have to go in the middle of the night a little bit more,
Yep.
So
Very true. So
it's kind of like reverting back to toddler stage. Hey, nothing to drink after 7 o'clock.
but you know what though? If you do, I've noticed this, if you don't drink anything like after 7, you don't have to go as much in the middle of the night. Many times I don't even have to get up in the middle of the night if I really watch that. It does make a big difference. There's no doubt. So
I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to do some research on that light thing.
there you go.
And figure it out. So, we always want to make sure we address making sure you guys get yourself taken care of from a health standpoint. And we always appreciate Kobe and Rachel and any of their guests that come. So the other part that we do like to talk about is taking care of your financial health, and as we talk about it being spring and the weather starting to change, that also means it's time to pay your portion of the taxes. So we're going to have Terry from Abacus come on up. This is Terry Wingo.
Good morning.
A good friend of Prime. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Hey, you know what else affects sleep? Stress. And how many are stressed over filing your tax return? Well, I am. Come on, everybody. This is not the funnest thing to do, and most people put it off. Have you put it off? Okay. Do you know what that causes? Penalties, interest, all of those things. That money that you're working for, you're paying it in extra that you don't need to do if you'll just file your tax return. Okay? So first, find somebody that you trust, somebody that you're going to work with, somebody that you are going to feel comfortable with getting that tax return filed. Who is that? Find somebody that knows this industry, because every industry is different. So if you just go to somebody that files tax returns, you may not be getting the best return filed. What does that mean, the best return filed? Well, are they capturing all of the revenue? Are they capturing all the expenses? If they don't understand transportation, I can guarantee you they're missing expenses, because do you know all the expenses that you can claim? The IRS says ordinary and necessary. That's the rule. That's the explanation that you get. It's ordinary and necessary. There's no list. So you have to understand transportation. One of the things that you know is a lumper, right? Having that truck loaded and unloaded, you're going to pay for that, right? If they don't know what a lumper is, probably a good idea to say thank you so much and go find somebody that does. If they don't understand deadhead pay, if they don't understand a lot of things that go into trucking, find somebody that does, okay? Abacus is here in the building is because we're here out of convenience for you. We do not share any of your information with Prime. That's your information, okay? But one of the reasons why we're here is to make it less stressful for you, because you drive better, you sleep better, not having to worry about your finances, okay? So if there's anything we can help you with, we're right upstairs, 417-380-5000, or you can find us on our website. Excuse me. There's a couple of dates. March 17th is the date for businesses. So if you made that S Corp election on your LLC, 1120S is what you're going to need to file. That's the 17th of March. Partnerships, 1065. That's the 17th of March. Everybody else is April 15th. Now, if you cannot file on that date, you get to file an extension. That's for October 15th. That's an extension to file, not to pay. Well, wait a second. How do I know how much to pay if I haven't filed my return? Well, if you're a lease or owner op, you should be paying quarterly estimates throughout the year. So you're prepaying for that tax. Make sure that you're doing that. Okay, that will benefit you so you don't have to pay that all in one lump sum in April or October, okay? All right, if you have any questions or you need any help, come find us. Thank you.
All right, Terry Wingo, folks, give her a round of applause. Thanks, Terry. David, you got your taxes done?
Not yet, Dennis. I
Mm.
kind of wait a little bit. There's a reason why.
What you waiting for?
Sometimes when you got to pay, you kind of wait to the end.
Hey, well, hey, man, you know, me and my wife are on top of it. I've already got ours done. I already submitted it.
You getting a return?
I got a little bit of a refund.
More power to you, buddy.
know, so I figure I should be in federal prison by June.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We'll get Johnny up here next.
Get John Harden up here in deck. So, you know, we mentioned earlier that we do these simulcasts at our other locations as well. Do we have Salt Lake City yet? Are we still not talking to them? We can see them, but we're not talking to them. So that's fine. We're having some technical difficulties out west, but so we'll go out east. I think we got Rick Ifford with us this morning. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. We can hear you loud and clear. We are talking to you guys this morning.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, we had a great week this week, a great orientation class, great weather, by the way. We had some low temperatures in the morning or in the beginning of the week, but we raised up at the end of the week, and we're doing great.
Fantastic. I think you got Richard Brock there with you. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, gentlemen. You know, I'll go over a couple things. There were some things that were brought up in the DAB meetings, which if you guys don't know what DAB is, that is our Driver Advisory Board. That is a group of representatives that come in and voice your concerns. And we talk about issues and updates that are going on with the company. One of those items that was brought up was some of the parking around the terminal in Pittston. We are moving a lot of the bobtails off of the yard and taking them down to the training pad to help out with that. And we'll continue to do so. Also, just so everyone knows, we also have some construction that's going to be going on here at the terminal. And that'll be going on through this year where we're going to be actually adding on to the training pad and the training pad office down there where Pedigree is going to be moving. And that's going to free up a lot more space here as that sold equipment comes off the yard and makes more room for parking. With that being said, some other construction items and maintenance items that are going on. It was brought up that the lines and the training pad lines down there are kind of starting to get worn out. So we are going to be doing a reseal on that pad and getting those lines repainted down there as well. And that'll be coming up here over the next month or two. So one other thing with that, if you are coming into Pittston, please do not take loaded trailers down to the training pad. That asphalt is not rated for loaded trailers and it will damage that asphalt. So you'll see as you go down there, there are signs saying no loaded trailers down there. Please avoid doing that because you will be asked to move. And we don't want to interrupt your sleep or make you have to move in the after you've gotten there and you've gotten comfortable. That's all I've got.
All right, Richard and Rick, thank you guys so much. I see Lisa up there too. Hey, Lisa, how's it going? If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to jump on the microphone. So
We were fortunate enough last week. We had Ricky down here working with us. Matter of fact, him and Bill did the meeting last Friday.
yeah, where were you?
I was busy.
All right. He was busy. Well, we're back here. Good morning, folks in Springfield, Missouri. Good morning to you. Hey, that's all right. All right. Well, good deal, good deal. You know, hey, we see some neon vests, and that's usually indicative that we've got some new folks here. So if we've got any new drivers to the company, this is your first week at Prime at any of our locations. If you would stand for just a second and give us an opportunity to welcome you to the team. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for making the decision for some of you to start your trucking career here at Prime and for others to continue your trucking career here at Prime. You know, I've said this before. I think Prime is a destination company. Some folks are you know, fortunate enough to start their career here, and hopefully you can stay here your entire career. We have so many different options for different avenues you can go in your trucking career. If you want to be a company associate like Dave and I and drive, we have that option. If you want to lease a truck with us, we have that option. If you want to get your own authority and operate there, there's a spot for you here. If you want to start a mini fleet, you know, David, you know, what's better than one truck?
Have multiple trucks.
Two.
Definitely, yes.
And what's better than two? Four.
Four.
You know, and if that's what your goals, your career aspirations are, we have an opportunity for you to achieve those goals here at Prime. So, you know, of course, always talk to your fleet manager. I'm a big advocate of, at the very beginning of your career, establish goals. That way you have something specific that you're working for. And they may change, that's fine. But, you know, establish goals, work with your fleet manager to achieve those goals. And you never know what 10 years will look like for you here at Prime.
Or what 55 years looks like for Robert Lowe, because this week was our 55th anniversary of Prime. So Robert started it back in 1970 with one truck and multiplied it out over 55 years, and this is where he is today. And it's amazing, this story. You know, if you want to go on and read about him, jump on the internet, it's amazing because it hasn't always been good for him. You know, he went ups and downs just like any business owner does, but pulled her out and has done wonderful. And we're the leading refrigerated company in the United States. And I'd say one of the tops too on flatbed and tanker as well. And we do a wonderful job. It's, you know, his leadership and the people he puts in management around here, that's what makes this place go. It's not Dennis or I, it's all of us together, working together with our driver base. And I want to give a big shout out too to all of our new folks here as well. Welcome to our family, because here at Prime, you are family. Hopefully over a period of time, you start feeling like it. And, you know, we need to treat you every day with respect. And I know it's not always going to happen out on the roadway. It's tough out there. Hopefully our customers treat you with respect as well, but sometimes we struggle in that area too. But you know what? Let us know. Let us know your concerns. If you have questions, problems, we want to see you succeed, because when you succeed, we all succeed here at Prime. That's what it's about.
Fantastic. And of course, we see some familiar faces out there too. Welcome home for you folks that have been with us for a while. We're always glad to see you. Hopefully we can provide you whatever services that you're here to get quickly so that we can get you back out on the road, generating some revenue. You know, as we talk about 55 years at Prime, one of the most, you know, YouTube is a source of information about Prime, both good and bad. You know, there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad out there. But one of the most intriguing YouTube videos that I've seen is it's kind of an interview between Robert Lowe, our CEO and founder, and Steve Lucky, our vice president in sales and marketing. He just talks about, you know, basically day one, you know, and how he got to where we are. So if you really want to truly know and understand the story of Prime and really get an idea of where this unique culture comes from, that's the YouTube video that you should be looking at. Go there, watch that video, and you'll get a lot of insight about what Prime is today.
Yeah, and I've been to some national associations where Robert spoke about it too, and you can hear a pin drop when he's talking, because talks about the good and the bad and pulling through and making it. And he had some breaks go his way, and the times he didn't have breaks go his way. And it's amazing. You know, I was at a TCA event many years ago down in Oklahoma City, and it was primarily safety people, but there was operations people there, business owners. And when Robert got up to speak about it, it was really emotional. And really, you know, it's amazing how quiet it was in there. And he didn't stand up on a podium. He got down on the floor and he walked around. So he's just like one of us. And unfortunately here today, I don't think he's going to be here this morning for our meeting, but most Fridays, you know, he's here. Steve Woodkey's here, Daryl Hopkins, you know, all of our top management staff. And yeah, it's great to see him. And he'll be more than happy. If you have questions, stop him in the hallway. You'll see him working out in here, because just like, you know, Colby and Rachel, and goes at it every day in the gym and is always involved around here. So it's great to have him, and we're very fortunate for that.
You know, so if you ever have questions, you know, if you look around the room, you know, Dave talked about, you know, Robert is not here, Steve's not here, but you know, you look quickly around the room, I see the guy in charge of IT, I see the guy in charge of Flatbed, the guy in charge of, you know, Sean Riker is really in charge of everything, payroll, permits, HR. You know, he's in charge of every department here, you know, in charge of security, Bill back here. We've got so many folks that are directors or, you know, folks that are in charge of different departments that are right here with you today here in Springfield, that you can ask those questions directly. You have direct access to the leadership of this company. And at our other locations too, you know, you've got the terminal manager, Richard Brock, standing right there in the middle of the room. You know, you've got the terminal manager, Jonathan Grice, even though we're not talking to those guys today, you know, right there with you if you want to ask those questions that you have, and they'll either get you the answer or get you to the right person to get those answers.
There you go. So should we move on to our next speaker?
Sure. We're gonna continue with some financial health. We're gonna ask Tara Homburg from Comdata to come on up, and I'm gonna ask my good friend Angie Reynolds from the payroll department to come on up too.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Angie and I'm with our payroll department. And this is Tara Homburg from Comdata.
Good morning. Good morning.
We are going to speak today about just your Comdata card in general and how to sign up for texts and alerts and just the value of signing up for that immediately if you haven't already. And also, we also want to talk about fraud prevention. So I'm going to let Tara take the lead on that.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having me here. My name is Tara, also sometimes known as the Comdata lady. And we're here to talk about your fuel card, your credit card that you purchase fuel with. If you guys don't know, which most of you probably do, there is a company funds rail on the card, and then there's your personal funds rail on the card. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the personal funds side, where you can see your transactions, where you can go back and get a report of all your transactions, kind of tying into Terry's point on taxes. You can look at all of your personal side purchases that you've made. So 2 ways that you can see your personal transactions on the card. Does anybody know? Come on, participate with me here. It's early. Yes, the Driven app. The Driven app is a great place on your phone where you can see immediately purchases made. On the Driven app, we'll talk about it just real briefly. That is where you can sign up for text and alerts. If you guys aren't familiar with the text and alerts program, you get, if our risk system flags it as potential, like it looks funny, something's wrong with the purchase, it'll text you just like a bank card would and say, is this you trying to make this purchase? You text back that it's you, it opens the card up and you go on your way. So the text and alerts program is very easy to get to in the Driven app. You just go to the card settings, pick SMS alerts, and it'll be turned on. So that's a really good way to keep your card open. On the Driven app as well, you can go in and change your email address. You can change information in there about the card. So anything else about the Driven app on that side of it? That's it. Okay. Anybody know the second way you can look at your transaction? This one's a little bit harder, a little trickier. Okay. The second way you can look at your transaction is going to cardholder, singular, cardholder.comdata.com. These are all going to be sent out in your payroll Monday morning staple.
Yes, we will be sending this out on Monday morning with all of the information as well.
Yes, so look there if you need the URL where to go. But you can go to the cardholder.com and you can look at all your transactions. You can do a printout. You can download for the past 15 months, so you can look at all your transactions. That's also where you'd go if you have a dispute on your card. You just click on pull up your transactions, click on the blue dispute button, and you can dispute it there. It's a really good website to go back and just look at all your transactions in a little bit different format than just an app. Those of you that are familiar with cardholder.com, we are going to MFA, multi-factor authentication. If you've ever logged into the site before, you will want to go in and make sure that you have your updated email address, or you're going to run into a little bit of trouble when you go to multi-factor authentication. So, and if you're not sure, go to the website, log in. You think you've been on there before, you can do forgot password and get back into the website. So that's some of the Comdata, cardholder.comdata.com information. What else do we have? Anything?
With it being tax time, I do want to put a plug. If you do need a copy of your tax documents and you are not enrolled in our electronic copies, you need to do so on the Prime mobile app. It's under My Pages and Tax Documents. You actually need to opt in to that electronic copy, and then you'll have access to it, and you can email, download, whatever you need to do with that. So if you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to do so.
Okay. If you guys have any questions, concerns, if you need help getting on the Driven app, I'm going to be here after the meeting. You can come over and see me. You're welcome to do that. Also, remember, it's all going to be in the payroll morning staple information with a driven 800 number that you can call for help or an email address. Also going to have the cardholder.com URL on there so you can get logged in there. But if you have any questions, I'll be over there. Come see me. I will help where I can.
And if you do have questions too, you're always welcome to reach out to your payroll associate. I do recommend and encourage you to reach out to them if you are having issues. We are always here to help and to support you. And you also need to make sure that you build those relationships because we are a team. So I just encourage you to really reach out to your payroll associate if you do have questions as well.
All right, this is where you applaud. Yay! All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Angie. I love it. Hey, this is where you applaud. Yeah.
There you go.
I love it. All right. Hey, let's keep it rolling. Who we got up next?
Hey, you know what? The one thing on taxes, make sure you do your taxes, good, bad, or indifferent. Don't hold that out and wait and think it's going to get better down the road, because if you don't do them, then you get IRS coming after you, and you don't want to have that. So next up, I think we got our bouncers over here. It looks like we got Dennis and we got Travis from our maintenance road assist department. Dennis is with Freightliner, and Travis, man, you do a good job on our pro maintenance class. So thank you for doing that.
I do. Thank you. Happy Friday, everybody. Yeah, so this morning we're going to change gears. I'm not going to talk about winter starting us off. I want to talk instead about idling your trucks and how that can be harmful to you. So your exhaust after treatment package is a big factor here that you need to be aware of. To start off, there's a point that I need to make that you all need to understand about your equipment, and it's really any engine applies. The less efficient your engine is, the more waste it will produce. So it's really important that you keep your engine running as efficiently as possible. To that end, preventative maintenance is going to help you out a lot here. Make sure you get preventative maintenance done on time. Pretty much everything preventative maintenance related is related to the efficiency of your engine. So if you don't get it done, your engine's going to be less efficient. That's going to mean that your exhaust is potentially going to clog up faster. But when you idle your engine is going to be less efficient. Diesel engines are designed to be run under a load, and you're not under a load when you're just sitting there idling it. So the engine's not as efficient with how it's burning the fuel. There's not as much pressure inside the cylinders, and that can reduce the lubrication inside the engine. But it's also going to create more carbon. When you're sitting there idling your engine, more carbon is going back into that exhaust, and it's going to clog it up a lot faster. So it's a loser. Idling your engine does not make sense. Forget about everything that I just said to that point. Just in fuel alone, doesn't make sense to idle your engines. You're going to burn up to 1 gallon of fuel every hour you're sitting there idling that truck. Do the math on what that's going to cost over a 10+ hour break. Most areas in this country, you can get yourself out of your truck and put yourself in a hotel room for less money than what it's going to cost just in the fuel alone. But when you factor in the exhaust system and the damage that you're doing to it, it really does not make sense. So if for some reason the APU is not running, guys, idling the truck is a loser. We don't want to do that. Consider, if you can, if the load will allow it, getting yourself out of the truck and getting in a hotel room out there somewhere. It's going to be the best play you can for that. Dennis, do you have anything to add here? Dennis is our Freightliner rep. So,
morning, everybody. Like you said, I'm Dennis. I actually work here on site at Prime in the Z building up there by Success Leasing. So if you ever have any questions, you can want to track me down. That's where you can find me here on site. I'm actually here today talking about something that's more prevalent in wintertime, but it can happen any time of year. I don't know if my slides made it down to the people this morning. They're working on it. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm here talking about about the differentials on your truck, and basically what the differentials are, and that's cutaway of your 2 rear axles on your truck, is it is a gearbox that is in that very center section, the bulbous area of the axles. It's a gearbox, and what it does, it takes the energy that comes out of your transmission, puts it to the tire, puts it to the wheel ends, to the ground, so your truck can move. If these fail, your truck can't go anywhere. You know, that's a lot of the complaints we get, is we'll have people calling the road assist and be like, hey, my truck's in gear, but I can't go anywhere. And they find out it's a differential failure. So that's the cutaway. My next slide is just kind of where you find them at. And this is more for new people than veterans, but obviously, you know, the differentials are only on the back 2 axles. Some will call them front drive, rear drive, and other people refer to them as front, rear axles. So most common one we get is called a spin out. And I think I've got a video on my next one here. Okay, so this is a very controlled video capture of what a spin out is. So basically what's going on here is the tire on the rear side has got all the traction in the world, but that tire you see spinning does not. And what just with how differentials are designed, whenever one tire has no traction, that's where all the energy wants to go to. And whenever you're in a situation like this, that tire that is moving is actually spinning at 4 times the rate of revolution as it would normally be if both tires were moving in tandem. So I want you to think about this. So what usually happens is, you know, your tire's spinning out, somebody hits the throttle to really get it to go to get some bite-in, and they finally get that momentum, and then they hit dry pavement. Well, if you got RPMs going on in your truck that would normally be at 20 miles an hour and your wheel is spinning 4 times the rate of revolution, that tire is spinning at what would normally be 80 miles an hour, and then it comes into contact with dry pavement, comes to an abrupt halt, and something's got to give. And I've actually got a couple examples on my next slide here of some failures that can be caused by that. So that shaft that's on, that'd be the right-hand side. That's actually the interaxle shaft. It's the drive line between the front axle and the rear axle. And that's about 1.5 to 2 inch diameter shaft. And it's just broke clean in half. You know, whenever I first saw that, whenever I first started over here, I actually thought it was a manufacturing defect because of how perfectly clean it looked. But nope, that was the cause of a tire just catching the ground and causing a shock load. And then the other one here, and we'll talk about this in just a moment, it's called what's called a spin out. And the spin out is what we just saw, your tires spinning out. And whenever your tires are spinning out and they're not spinning in tandem, the lubrication's not getting where it's supposed to be normally. And it doesn't take long for this to happen. It can be as little as 15 seconds, and it can burn them gears up to the point where they're starting to weld to each other. So how do we get out of this situation? Well, I'm sure you saw on my video that you saw that the front tires weren't moving at all. Well, the analogy I like to use is your front tires, your front axle is kind of like that friend that you help move, but they don't move anything. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of there for show going down the road. It doesn't actually ever have power to it on a daily basis. But you can give it power whenever you're in a situation like this. On your dash, there is a switch that is going to be labeled either differential lock or interaxle lock, and that will mechanically engage a gear to give power to that front axle. So what you want to do is, if you find yourself in a spin out scenario, not getting any traction, not going anywhere, you want to put your foot on the brake, make sure everything has come to a stop. Because if it doesn't come to a stop and you engage that switch, that shaft is going to be the end result. It's going to break that shaft in half. So make sure your tires are all to a complete stop. You gauge the switch. And I always tell people, don't gun it, just go slowly, just kind of crawl out of it. And then once you get to a point where you've got traction, come to a stop, turn it off. And don't be going down the road with it, because that front axle is only rated about 25 miles an hour on the highway, and it doesn't take much to damage it. So it's really only there to get out of a bind like this. And then I think the thing I'll add to that is, man, if you're in this spot and you engage that front axle and you still can't get anywhere, just kind of mentally step away, take a breath, because we all know we make the best decisions when we're starting to panic. Take a deep breath and call your road assist. Have a wrecker come out and give you a yank, because having a wrecker come out and yanking you a few feet, maybe $1,000. I don't know the rates on that, but man, that rear differential, I've actually been running numbers for average cost of repair. It's about $5-6 grand for that rear differential. And on that front one, it's about $8, because it's a lot more, there's a lot more to that front one. So if you got yourself in a situation like this, just like I said, step away, take a breath, call your road assist, do that. Don't panic. Don't just slam on the accelerator, because if you're stuck, you're stuck. And just, like I said, take a breath and call road assist, and we'll get you out of there.
For me, the golden rule here is, if your truck is in gear and you're not moving, there's a problem. You need to stop right now. The first instinct a lot of us has, mash on the gas pedal and try and go faster. No, that's going to be really bad. That's going to do a lot more damage. So stop your truck. This is a great time actually to plug our videos on YouTube. Our Prime YouTube channel has a lot of really good content. We mentioned a video with Robert and Steve earlier, but we've got a lot of maintenance videos on there too. They're in a playlist, so go check that playlist out. And there's a video on here that covers this that Dennis did. So yeah, I just want to point that out to you all.
Yeah, and that's saying Trent also does cover this in pro maintenance as well. Not a whole lot more than what I just talked about. I gave a pretty quick, brief summary over it, but let's talk about pro maintenance. And if you haven't gone to pro maintenance, I'd recommend it. I actually went and sat in with them pro maintenance a couple weeks ago, and it was very informative. I actually learned a couple new things while I was there. So
Appreciate that. We do that every day at 1 o'clock here in Springfield and on Thursdays at 1 o'clock at Salt Lake and Pittston. So if you want more info, contact Road Assist and we'll get you set up. Really quick, I want to also plug these guys and what they're doing here. He doesn't work for Prime. He works for Freightliner. He's a rep for us, and he does a lot of really great things to help keep our equipment moving. And we have reps for all of our different manufacturers. They sit back in the back of the room here on Friday mornings. So whoever your guy is, go find them over there and say hello to them. They're back in the back of the room, but they're here also, all week long, helping us out with our equipment when there's issues with it. So keep that in mind. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we've gone over this morning? If not, we're probably going to go ahead and scoot.
Bueller?
Don't see any hands. So thank you all for what you're doing. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thanks, Trent. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate you guys as always being here. I will say this, just a few minutes ago before those guys come up, you guys did witness a senior moment. Dave White, let me introduce you to Trent Ferris.
That's what I said, Dennis.
His name's not Travis.
I know.
He's
I
only
have to
worked here.
apologize
He's
for
only
the
worked here for
sorry,
like 12 years, and you still don't.
And I was looking right at him, and I was still calling. Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll charge it to your brain and not your heart.
There you go.
All right. Speaking of which, I've got some disciplinary things to talk about. I've been out of the office on business here for a good portion of the last 2 weeks, and I gave my department specific information not to have Paul Higgins come up at the Friday morning and speak. Yet I look at my schedule here that these guys have come up. This has to be a misprint. We got Paul Higgins.
I think John sent that out too. John Harden in your department. It wasn't me.
So, all right. So before you,
By popular demand.
Hold on. There's always a silver lining to everything, because
We got this video on.
if you always look at some of the criticisms that we get about these meetings on YouTube, most of it is about me, and that's fine.
Well deserved.
However, there's always one speaker that gets more criticism than me. Paul Higgins. Good morning, Paul.
Dennis, thanks for that intro. I'll get back at you one way or the other. We trade little barbs every once in a while, because how much fun is it to go to work if you can't have a little bit of fun? And Dennis, bless his heart, he's doing the best he can with the cards he was dealt. You know what I mean? And so, hey, seriously, I think the clock timer may be on, so y'all listen fast. I'm going to talk fast, okay? And by the way, this is audience participation. So here's what I need from you guys. Everybody practice. Ready? I'm following along with you. Okay, you're not moving your head. Yeah, okay, I disagree, Paul. Okay, all right, here we go. Dennis already hit on this. Dennis Cantrell from Freightliner. Dennis, I appreciate you being here. Hey, by the way, you guys, let me reiterate. Our vendors, every Friday, they send people, either they're the principals or they send their own people over here, and they spend an hour over here, and they're here after the meeting. So you got Freightliner, Navistar, Peterbilt, Thermo King, if you got APU issues. Who have I forgotten? Carrier even shows up, our Bendix ABS people. Who'd I leave out? Anybody? Well, they'll tell me afterwards. But anyway, if you've got any questions, if you got one of those trucks or you got a trailer question, go over. They're always in the back. They're always kind of hanging out. Just go corner them, ask them whatever you want, okay? They're here to help. So a couple things. So Dennis already hit on this, but we've had this problem, and it's kind of hard for me to believe. So let's talk about anti-gel for a second. And Dennis, did you talk about that? Anti-gel in your DEF tank. Okay, those don't go together. Here's what happens. Your DEF tank doesn't get any anti-gel in it. Okay, DEF fluid is mostly water. And so, but what's weird is it's okay to freeze, because your DEF tank has a heater in it, and your truck will, if your truck is frozen, let's say it's crazy cold, and your DEF actually freezes in the tank, it's weird, but it's okay. Your truck will start, it'll run, it'll go down the highway, it's got a heater in there, it'll thaw what it needs to in the bottom of the tank, and it'll still inject DEF into the after treatment. And DEF gets injected after, it's called post-cylinder. So it's on the way out the exhaust pipe. That's when DEF gets injected, basically. Okay, does that work for you guys? Lots of this. So you kind of know a little bit of the mechanics of what DEF does. Anti-gel has no place in there. Okay, don't do it. It's going to be a $5,000 to $10,000 fix. It'll be your bill. Okay, enough of that. How about this? Couple more things. Oil leaks. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. Our vendors don't want me to say this, but this is our own little dirty secret. Okay, ready? We generally have a 4-year, 600,000-mile warranty. Okay, so your truck's warranted up to 4 years or up to 600,000. So maybe what should we do? How about this? What if you get to 610,000 and you find out some problems? Well, that's a bad deal, right? Let's do this. Let's look at them before you get to 600,000. Okay? I mean, this is just business 101. And if you're approaching a 4-year mark, what do? Get to our shop. How about this? What's our labor rate, guys? Anybody know? $100? How much? 95? 95 bucks. You can't go anywhere in the country cheaper than 95 bucks at our shop. What if you spent 2 hours and told our mechanics, hey man, look my truck over, find anything you can find where I may need to go get it covered under warranty. Let's do that before the warranty expires. That could be one of the cheapest 200 bucks you spent, right? So let's get those things covered and no surprises right after 600,000. Okay? It's business 101. You guys with me? Remember this? You guys get it? All right. Everybody over here? All right. How about this? We had a truck last week, got an oil change, right? I think, are we at about 75,000 mile oil changes right now? Look, I got to ask for help because it's been so long. At 75,000, don't change your oil early. Okay? Don't say, oh, I'm going to change it at 37,000 because I like to make sure I got clean oil. Don't do it. You're wasting money. Your truck's under warranty. Okay? First off, change it at 75,000. Okay? Your truck's under warranty. Okay? It's not going to puke or they wouldn't have allowed a 75,000 mile warranty. Okay? You with me? Keep shaking your head. Yes? You with me? How about this? Number 3, if it does puke, it's not your fault. It's under warranty. Stop wasting money changing your oil early. Okay? Okay, you're shaking your head. No, you're not going to buy your truck. We don't want, okay, you buy your truck. There's how about this? Robert has 8,000 trucks. Robert wants to change, he wants the trucks gone. He thinks new trucks are the best way to build a business. He's built a pretty good business. Now you might be, I'm just going to point out, you have your own opinion, you can do that. He says, let's keep new equipment coming in because it breaks down less often. And I think the cost of ownership is the best that way. It's okay to disagree. And I'm not putting you on the spot here necessarily, but Robert wants the trucks covered in warranty. He wants you to move on. I can give you guys lots of reasons why you don't run your trucks more than 600,000 because that's where they start breaking down. And I can tell you how much it costs at that point. Okay, I'm going to keep going though. Oil change. This is kind of my last point. Oil change. When you get your oil changed, you have to do a daily inspection anyway, right? On your equipment. We had a truck last week, got an oil change. We put the filter on, we pinched the oil. Well, I would say we, an outside shop, but doesn't matter. Anybody can accidentally pinch an O-ring, okay? The O-ring seal could be pinched, oil can go out. About 3 days later, guess what? Truck runs out of oil. Now, whose fault is it? This is where the finger pointing starts, right? So the shop that changed your oil says, okay, we did pinch the O-ring. We did. It happens. It happens more often than you guys think. But what else is involved in this? Is there a daily inspection that you all do? You got to open the hood. Is it cold? Yeah, it's cold outside. Is it windy? Yeah. You got to look anyway, okay? You got to do these kind of things. So we'll kind of work through those kind of warranty issues, but we need everyone to do your daily inspection, all right? That's kind of one of the big things. So really that's it. And Dennis, I don't know who's next, but we'll pass the baton. Oh, was there a question somewhere? Brianne, you got something going on? Okay. Brian's up. You ready? Got something else?
You done?
Oh, it's on my list. Dennis did a great job of covering stuff, so that's really awesome.
How did you,
Dude, I'm like a 5-minute guy.
So how did you sneak your way onto this deal? Huh?
I had to ask like 3 weeks ago to get 5 minutes because my info is so good that everyone is kind of used to this droning on and safety. You don't learn stuff, but you know, whenever people want to learn stuff, it's kind of hard to get a spot. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I appreciate you.
I'm not saying you're boring, you know.
I've been called worse. Hey, thank you, Paul, for being here this morning, as always. Let's give him a round of applause. All right. It's our turn.
Should have had some of that juice in Paul's coffee cup there.
Yeah, he's gone. Let's go.
Let's go with some safety here. We're going to do some safety numbers. You ready?
Sure. What's the numbers?
All right. This past week we had 154 DOT inspections, 105 clean, so a 68% clean rate. Give yourselves a round of applause. Another good number. Thank you. You know, Dennis, you asked where I was last week. Well, Johnny and I were up at the MOTA Safety Conference, and we actually got to talk to Michelle Horn, who runs the Joplin scale, and she gave a presentation on it. She oversees about 15 DOT inspectors out of that scale. She runs the whole scale. She's a supervisor now. She's been with Highway Patrol, I think, like right around 15 years. Wonderful person, knows a lot. And of course, one of the questions somebody brought up, what are the top 3 issues you see at your scale? And number 1, anybody want to guess? Tires. Tires is number 1. Lights is number 2. And the condition of your truck is number 3. And she says, really, the condition of your truck, and she's been doing this, like I said, 15 years. And she goes, if you're pulling in and you got a truck, you got a bungee cord holding something up, or it hasn't been cleaned, the dash is full of garbage or papers, I'm looking at you pretty heavy. I'm going to be saying, I got a few minutes. I can pull you around back and take a look at that truck. And usually I will find something. And so just a heads up on it, you know, I mean, your condition of your truck means a lot. And besides that, you know, when you're going down the road, and I understand this time of year it is so hard, Dennis, to keep your truck clean. You got salt and sand and stuff that have been laying out there. And after you wash it, probably within a few hours, it's dirty again. But that being said, you know, it does make a big influence on the inspectors. And so remember that if, you know, clean truck, you're usually going to have less issues with. Paul was talking about new trucks and all that, what we do here in new trailers, that does make a difference too as well. Newer equipment tends to get through inspections a little bit easier than older equipment. So, but really good conference we're at, had a good time. So anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'll add to that. You know, looking at some accident pictures on a previous accident, and you know, it's just little things like that that you do notice. And not that I ever want to, you know, support Paul and what he's saying, but he's right, and Dave is right too. When you're looking at these accident pictures, you can tell how old the truck is, because for whatever reason we decide to stack the IFTA stickers as if it's some type of a collection. You know, take those old ones off. It just takes a few minutes to take them off. You can look around the truck. The particular pictures I was looking at, you know, there was an accident on the driver's side. If you look at the passenger side, you can tell that they had also had an accident or some type of damage on that side that they hadn't gotten fixed yet. You know, it's a weird cyclical situation that all of these things are definitely connected. You know, the better you keep your truck looking, that means probably that you're going to do a lot better preventive maintenance on it. You know, we can sometimes look at the physical truck and pictures like, this dude did not do a pre-trip, because obviously this is not right. That's not right. You know, and they affect so many different parts of your business, that the life of your truck. It's so important that you do that. And I know it's sometimes cold, it's night, it's whatever. I promise you, it's the right thing to do to get out there and get it done.
And you get rewarded too. If you got a clean inspection, $100. I mean, who's going to turn down $100? Company drivers, you get 25. That's awesome. That's some decent money you can make in one inspection. If it's a level 3, they're just looking at your logs and that's all they're doing. And make sure you got your spare logbook and you got your instruction card. You know, that may only be 5-7 minutes and you're done. You're out of there. It's real quick. And for $100, we'll pay you $100 on level 1, 2, or 3. Doesn't matter. And that's what we're looking for. And Robert believes in that. And that's part of taking care of your business and taking care of your truck and being safe out there. So,
you know, we'll have Alex from our law department come up here in a second. But one of the things that I did notice in looking through the inspections this week is low-hanging fruit. Not that you did anything wrong, but you didn't know how to send the officer the logs. You couldn't find the inspection on your trailer. Couldn't find an updated insurance card on your truck. Okay, low hanging fruit. You did everything right except you weren't prepared for the inspection. So I'm gonna challenge our inspection bay guys every once in a while. And you know, Dave and I, he doesn't know this yet, but we'll probably send him and I out there at some point to just do some spot inspections. Hey, show me that geotab device. Show me how to send your logs. You know, show me where to find your cab card and your insurance card. Just real quick, show me how to find it. You know, we also get the comment, well, I've never had an accident. I don't know how to submit an accident report. Well, I'm glad you didn't have an accident, of course, but you know, if you don't know how to submit these reports, it's important that you train yourself, and especially if you are training, that you're communicating that information to those trainees as well. So we'll do some spot checks. You know, these geotab devices now, you can pull them out of the truck and take them wherever. Let's do some spot check. Let's do some quick training. We'll probably pick, 10 or 15 folks around the yard today, knock on your door, knock on your window and say, hey, show me what you know how to do. And if you don't, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. This is the time to learn. We'll show you how to get those things done.
Amen. Good idea. So one other thing that happened this week too, we had a driver get recognized for Highway Angel of the month from the Truckload Carriers Association. So before we close this out, I want to make sure we recognize Jason Holmes from Phoenix, Arizona. Jason, yeah, give him a round of applause. On January 12th this year, Jason was driving on I-71 in Delaware County, Ohio, where he witnessed a horrific crash between two cars hitting head on. Jason stopped immediately, helped, finding one passenger ejected from the vehicle. He assisted in rescuing the critically injured passengers, including the driver with a severe leg and arm injury, and stayed with another trapped passenger until EMS arrived. So Jason was quick thinking, and his bravery embroidered the Highway Angel Award and demonstrating his courage and compassion in life-threatening situations. So shout out to Jason and his fleet managers, Gage Gilliam out of Salt Lake City. So another one, Dennis, a couple of weeks ago at the 2, 3, 4 million mile award, we had Isaac that helped another driver who was choking on a piece of meat and did a Heimlich maneuver and got that meat out of it so he could breathe, and saved him too as well. So we got some great drivers around here that actually go beyond, what we expect, and not asking every driver out there to stop, at every accident scene, because sometimes that can lead to more issues. But Jason really went over and beyond what we asked.
Thank you so much, Jason, for your dedication just to humanity. And that's really what it boils down to.
100%.
All right.
What do we got?
I'm asking Alex to come on up. Let's talk hours of service. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, thank you. So we're not talking about PC today. We did it a lot. There? Okay. Today we're going to be talking about the clocks for your breaks. So we've received a few phone calls from drivers frustrated about the fact that they're doing a 30-minute break, they pull off, and now the system is telling them, hey, you haven't done a 30-minute break yet. What's going on? And so, we're taking a look at the clocks, and they do get updated for the geotab whenever we have the regular updates go push through. So the one thing I would say is it is the system, when you put these statuses on there, they should record at the time that they are put in. At the same time, it is our responsibility to make sure that those breaks have been completed, right? So if we put it in a 30-minute break, so you're driving, put it into off-duty, and then you do a 30-minute, and then you pull off as soon as that 30-minute is supposed to be over, but there was a few seconds delay or a minute delay, these systems go by the second. So if you're 2 seconds early to pulling off on a 30, you're going to have to stop again. And that's just going to delay us at that point. So there's a few things that we do recommend through logs to try to avoid that. And this includes the 30-minute breaks, or if you're going to do a 10-hour, it's to just verify that either A, you had your time come back on your logs. So if you're doing a 10-hour break, go into your hours of service. It's a single button press and you're right on the page that has all the hours. Make sure that your 11 and 14 have come back. And then if you're doing anything that's a bit more complicated, let's say you're doing a split break, those split breaks have to have those minimum requirements, those 7 or 8 hours in sleeper berth. And your restoration clock will show you the hours that you have been in those breaks, but you want to make sure that you've been in the sleeper for that set amount of time, that minimum. So you can verify that the time came back, but you also can go on the graph. So you go to your logs page, and that graph will show you that you've been in that status long enough. At that point, you can switch back into on-duty drive, whatever it is that you need to do at that point. The last thing I was going to bring up outside of just kind of verifying that, we've completed those breaks, that we got the time back, is the daylight savings time, which we've touched upon at that, in the beginning of the meeting. Daylight savings is going to move us forward an hour. So just be wary of the fact that we are technically going to lose some time. So if you go into sleeper the day before daylight savings takes effect, and you need to, do 2 hours tonight, and then in the morning, 12 on, you might only need 8. Account for that extra hour. If you have a question, same deal, contact your log advisor. But, do one of the two things. That way you'll see that the time came back or didn't come back. So if you're 10 hours in and that daylight savings time hits and we lose an hour and you don't see the time come back, well, now we know it's an issue. But you don't ever want to assume that it's just ready to go. We do want to do those verifications prior to pulling off. While I'm up here, does anyone have any questions on clocks? Yep. Yes.
Thanks. Is there any way we can get the drivers to figure out how to drive in the yard instead of driving 3 miles an hour? I mean, the geotabs all have personal conveyance. When you're at the terminals, why don't we teach these drivers to go like, say, I'm at home, instead of having them drive around the terminal at 3 or 5 miles an hour?
Right. Well, that I'm not 100% sure, but at least for the drivers that have been put on the pilot program, maybe your fleet manager's on there for the beta test on that. If you arrive to a yard, treat it like you're at home, and that you can move in personal conveyance for personal reasons. Shoot a message to your log advisor, hey, I'm going to be on the yard until Friday. So we'll make a note, we'll leave it on until then. That way you're not dealing with the hassle of calling back and forth. And hopefully that kind of encourages you to move around on the yard. Obviously at a safe speed, but faster than 5. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions for Alex? All right. Thank you.
Good job, Alex. Thank you.
All right. Dave, I think we had a pretty solid meeting today.
We did. And before I forget, anybody want one of these face masks to sleep better in? We talked about light and all that. Putting this over your eyes will make a difference. Heather's got a whole box of them over here, and she's handing them out. So she'd like to get rid of them rather than take them back to her office. So I've got a couple here. Somebody can take these, and man, they're nice to have.
And I put one of those on. I can't see my iPad though.
That's your problem.
I'm just joking.
All right, no problem. There you go, buddy. All right.
Y'all can wait till after we to pick these up.
That's okay.
It'd be just a minute or two. All right.
Wanted them so bad you're willing to come up here. I love it.
If you have any technology questions, we talked about the geotab. We also, we haven't talked about cameras at all, but we want to make sure that everybody's logged on to the Driver Eye app. If you're not logged on, you need some assistance. We got our experts over here. We got Richard and Brienne from our IT department that can answer any technology related questions that you may have. And again, like I said, we've got directors and managers from different departments around the building at all of our locations that can answer your questions. Dave's got on a pink t-shirt, and I've got on a pink shirt, but a lot of other folks have got on red. We've got these two here with the fancy Prime. We wear red t-shirts. I love those. We do that to remember everyone deployed. So if you served in uniform, if you defended our freedom, we would ask that you stay in here for just a second and give us the opportunity to honor you. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to ask Brian Brown to come on up. Like Dave said, the powers that be, Robert Lowe, Bill Hopkins, Steve Lucky, they're out busy doing something. So they left us with you. We've got Brian Brown. And Brian, the unique thing about Brian's like me. You started here a long time ago, kind of I think you started as an intern.
I did, yep.
And now they put you in charge of something.
They finally put me in charge of something. So I'm the director of the Flatbed division. I did start here about 27 years ago as an intern, and I think I've held about every position possible in my division. So, you know, in that length of time, and I always get excited when I see new drivers here in the yellow vests on Friday mornings. I've gotten to be a part and witness a lot of lives being changed here. And for you guys that are new, just coming to Prime, you may be wondering if you've made the right decision. And I want to encourage you that you definitely have. I always say that the American dream is still alive here at Prime. And if you've got goals, you've got dreams, you want to buy a house or put kids through college or buy a car, whatever your dream is, you can do it here. I guarantee it. If you will just trust the system we have here, trust your fleet manager. If you need advice, talk to some drivers who've been around, talk to Dee Sova. You want to talk about a great story, hear her testament. You know, we've got a million of those. You know, look up and down the hallways of Prime. You're going to see plaques everywhere of success stories. And if you just work hard and you work safe and you're on time, it'll happen for you. I promise you. We're here to help you any way we can. We're not perfect. We strive every day. We've got a leadership team that wakes up every morning and thinks, how can we be better for our drivers and for our customers and for the safety of the public? And our leadership team, you know, Robert, all the way down, they walk the walk every day for you guys. I promise you. So we appreciate you so much. We couldn't do it without you. You are everything to us. We want you to get home safe. You deserve respect, and you deserve to earn a great living here at Prime. So God bless you, and please be safe.